Sandwell Hospital Radio. I'm Phil Blackstaff, and in the studios today we have Toby Lewis, the Chief Executive of the NHS Trust for Birmingham and Sandwell. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm enormously well.
Great. I've got a couple of questions here for you. Question one. In this August's blog, you discussed about new changes with technology at the Trust. Can you explain more how these changes help improve things with patients?
Sure. I mean, there's things we're doing right now, and then there's things we want to do in the future. So if we start with the things right now, it ought to be possible if you come into outpatients, which let's face it is the biggest thing that we do as an organisation, that we can recognise that you're here when you put your letter up against a kiosk, that we can ask you some key questions and confirm information. So that allows you to give us confidential information without having to do it out loud to a receptionist. And then when you go away, we're able to arrange an appointment with you to come back at a time that's convenient to you, rather than the old way where we tended to send a letter out and tell you it was going to be on a Thursday afternoon and you had to organise your life around that. So that's probably the biggest change that we've made, but there are all sorts of other things coming about how we use iPads and handheld devices in patient environments, and in time, when we get our new electronic patient record in Christmas time of 2017, over the year after that, so as we move into Midland Met, we want to be in a place where a patient or their relative could log on at home and see elements of their patient record electronically at home. So they wouldn't have to request a photocopy of a patient record, they'd be able to see online what's happening to their care or to their loved one's care. So
that sounds really good. We know that the Trust is planning to become the West Midlands Centre for Sickle Cell. Where are we now with this plan?
Okay, so the care of patients with sickle cell and thalassemia is something that's big in terms of what the Trust does, and it's really important, particularly for some parts of the local community. We've always been a major centre, and what NHS England now wants us to do is to take responsibility for care across the West Midlands, networking with other hospitals, but with our clinicians taking the lead role. And I think where we are now is we're in the final stages of negotiating how that would work across Coventry, Wolverhampton, Walsall and so on. None of this would change where patients get their care, but what it would mean is that there was a consistency of standards across the system. The one thing that's changed very recently is that some patients for their care need apheresis, which kind of intervention or treatment, for which they used to have to go to London, and now they're able to receive that treatment as of 2-3 weeks ago in our hospitals.
Okay then. Can you give us an idea where we are with the Midlands Metropolitan Hospital?
I can. We're 700 and something days away from opening, and I was on the site just last week. I had the opportunity with my chairman to go and walk up onto the 5th floor that Carillion have managed to build, and you get a sense from doing that the sheer scale of what's going to be in place. You remember it opens in October 2018, and I spent a very happy few days at the back end of last week rebutting the idea that it wasn't going to open and that there was some secret plan not to open it. I can be very clear that Midland Met will open in October 2018. We've got a lot of work to do between now and then to build the clinical teams who need to move out of Sandwell Hospital, out of City Hospital, and start to work alongside each other in the new Midland Metropolitan Hospital. But of course the majority of what we do as an outpatient service will still be provided on the site on Dudley Road or here at Sandwell. It's our acute complex inpatient care and our obstetric and maternity care that will transfer to the new specialist centre, which, as I say, opens in October 2018, and we're absolutely, I think I'm touching wood in your studio, we're absolutely on plan to deliver that in 780 something days.
You stress on the importance of working closely with GPs. Can you talk to us about that more?
In terms of specific things we're doing with local GPs, I mean, there's a group of GPs around the Your Health Partnership who are predominantly in Carter's Green in West Brom and up in Rowley Regis, where we're looking to make some joint medical appointments, so people who will be a part-time GP and a part-time hospital consultant. That's reasonably innovative. There are other services we provide, like rheumatology, where we've always worked closely with a group of GPs around the modality practice in West Birmingham, and we're expanding the way in which that service is provided. But I think there are 35 care homes in our neck of the woods. We want to wrap general practice services and hospital services around the residents of those care homes, so that fewer of those people are admitted to hospital as an emergency. So it's really important that the work we do with local GPs works for all parties, most importantly works for the patients. It's really important to us that when somebody thinks about coming out of medical school in Birmingham or in Leicester, or if the new Aston Medical School gets off the ground, when they think general practice, they think, you know what, I don't just want to be a GP, I want to go and be a GP in Sandwell and West Birmingham, and we need to put our shoulder to the wheel to help to make that happen. So these are all exciting things. We can make a complete mess of it. They're not all perfect, they're not all sorted, but we're definitely headed in the right direction.
That's great news. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you for your time.